Thank you for joining us for this Friday edition of our Tech Talks. So this week we are featuring Mr. Jonathan Tobe. Jonathan is a senior HCM consultant and an integral piece of the HCM leadership and strategy here at RPI Consultants. Today he is going to be talking about embracing customer updates. Essentially, he's going to tell you that customer updates happen, and he's going to give you tactics to respond when you're implementing and once you've gone live. So with that, it's my pleasure to turn it over to Jonathan. Jonathan, take it away.
Thanks so much, Scott, and good afternoon to everyone, and good morning to some. So as Scott mentioned, I've been with RPI about 1.5 years, and I've been in the Infor world for about 5 years. And prior to joining that community, I was part of HR, and I worked mostly in roles that had a heavy focus on systems. So at RPI, I lead the functional aspect of GHR implementations, mostly, and some work in other areas, and also talent management, like goals and performance and things of that nature. I've worked a lot there as well. So what is a CU? And I know many of you may be at different levels of knowledge about what a CU is. I know a lot of our clients are still on-prem, and I feel like as a community, we're still embracing cloud technology. So CU is a customer update, and it provides enhancements and fixes to bugs. So when we say an enhancement, we may mean an example may be when a hiring manager dispositions a candidate, they may have additional options that may trigger additional functionality. So it's really the product evolving and responding to the needs of the customers. Then we have like fixes to bugs, meaning the product is actually not working as designed. Maybe when someone requests a name change, maybe it's not being routed for approval, in terms of how the setting is in GHR to say, yes, if someone requests to change their name, approve it. So if something happens there, that may be a bug. So these CUs generally come out once a month to all, multi-tenant customers automatically. I'm an HR person, so you'll hear me talk a lot about HR, but these CUs impact the overall landmark technology base and CloudSuite FSM. So it's not just HR, and it's also the technical stack, not just the sort of application. In terms of documentation, we usually get release notes about 2 weeks in advance. There's also like a net change report, which I think is like a PDF that kind of highlights all of the bug fixes or enhancements. And as you can see, I think this may be the net change report, or maybe the release notes. It's one or the other. You can see there's a issue type field. So this is just a snippet of one. I think this is from earlier this year. So you can see at the bottom, it says there's an enhancement about the IOM purge. And then you can see there's like a configuration console issue that was resolved. So Infor does provide a great deal of documentation around the net changes. In terms of managing your CU, you can really think about it similar regardless of whether or not you're in an active implementation or in a project, or if you're live in production. So if you're in an implementation, it does afford you a great opportunity to sort of rehearse the tactics that you will use to manage the CU in production. There are really kind of 3 key tenets that are top of mind that are more there may be some more tactical things, but these are kind of 3 tenets that we encourage our clients to think through. So number 1 is make sure that you're scheduling your milestones to avoid conflicting with when a CU is going to be pushed. So as an example, let's say that a CU will come out on June X. If you have user acceptance testing scheduled like the Monday after that CU comes, that may be risky in that what if something changes that weekend? You already have scripts. It may not be enough time to sort of meander your way out of that and to respond to the testers. So really, you want to make sure you don't have big events within your implementation that may go south if the CU does something to a configuration that may adversely impact the experience. On the production side, you may not want to start OE the Monday, open enrollment, excuse me. You may not want to start open enrollment for benefits the Monday after a CU comes, right? So it's incumbent on the decision makers, be it the HRIS team or maybe the PM, if you're in an implementation, to factor in when CUs are happening. From a technical perspective, regardless of whether it's a consultant that you're working with or maybe your internal tech lead, we do recommend a degree of validation of certain customizations and configurations from sort of a RICE perspective. But then also on the more functional side, whether it's like an HRIS analyst or your functional consultant, there should be a degree of validation of some of your business sort of expected functionality and your business customizations. So team, this is certainly not a laundry list, but I would say these are the three major tenets that you want to think through, regardless of whether or not you're actively implementing in the cloud or whether you're live in the cloud already. There is a concept of a pre-production environment. As we understand it at RPI, it is a relatively new concept, and it can be supported for both the landmark technology, FSM, GHR, and mobile supply chain management. It actually is a separate environment from your production tenant, and what it affords you is the opportunity to evaluate a CU in advance of it being placed within your production environment. So that may afford you the opportunity to maybe change some of your documentation. Maybe it will allow you to open a ticket if something is problematic with Infor. Maybe it will allow you to reconfigure something, or maybe a workaround. One thing that we do want to call out to clients is, let's say you do have the production environment, and I think, I don't know that there's a direct guarantee as to specifically how far in advance the pre-production environment will get to CU, but the goal is for it to be an advanced window, right? So if the production environment is updated on June 4, maybe pre-prod is updated in late May. So the goal and the intent is for there to be a window. If you identify something in this kind of late May example, the June CU is not going to be withheld from your production environment. It gives you a window to figure out, okay, what is the impact? How do I want to respond to that impact? But it doesn't necessarily stop the code from hitting your production environment. There are some cost considerations, as we understand it, with this pre-production environment. And so certainly that's something that each client would likely confer with their Infor sales team on. So team, those are kind of the key messages. As Scott mentioned, this is, a 30-minute session. So we wanted to leave room for questions. But team, those are some of our key messages that we are conveying to our clients that are new to the cloud or that are considering the cloud. I would love to open it up for any experiences. If we have participants on the line that are multi-tenant customers, maybe you've identified additional tactics that you may want to share. I think we have a fairly large audience. I think we have about maybe 30 or 40 people on. So you may know something that you've learned that we can all learn from, or you may have questions about what we've covered. I also have a colleague on the line, Jonathan Gustavson, who is a tech lead at RPI. So if the questions are more technical in nature, I may toss those over to John. All right. Scott and Logan, do we want to open it up now?
If anybody has, here we go. We've got our first question. Do you find some clients just accept the prod updates without testing, and what's been their experience?
So I am aware of clients. The pre-production environment is new, and I know that there are clients for a myriad of reasons. They may not be able to fully test everything. So there, I have known of things like even in our implementations where we may be doing something and we may have a major testing round coming up. And something, I don't want to use the term breaks, something may be adversely impacted because of the code that was pushed. So I've seen it within implementations, and I'm sure some of our clients have seen it when they're live as well, because it's the same concept, regardless of whether you're live or not.
So another question, has anybody caught an issue in pre-prod that was reported to Infor and the change pulled out for the CU?
Gus, I may lean on you to see. I don't know, with it being so new. I may lean on you to take that one, Gus.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, a lot of times, since Infor is really controlling who they are allowing to be on pre-prod right now, you do have a direct connection to them. So I have seen a few scenarios where in that 2-week period, week and a half period between pre-prod and production, they have taken things down because of a bug that was found by somebody that was using the pre-prod environment. So obviously not a guarantee that that's always going to be the case, but that definitely has happened.
And then the last question we have so far, would tasks be a better option than having a pre-prod environment, in your opinion?
So tasks. I'm not. Is that a live chat you're having? Yeah. When you say tasks, I'm not
Joe,
following.
tasks, TAAS, something as a service. I don't know what that.
Okay, maybe Gus, you may know what that
Testing
means.
as a
Sounds like
service.
it's an
There we go.
acronym, maybe.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, it's testing as a service.
Okay.
And I personally have not had any experience of working in that. I know that's the whole idea of it, that it's a service that can come in and test your environment for you. So yeah, I haven't used it, but that definitely is an option, a possible tool that you could use